MyBookie football picks. Welcome in. He's Jim Dunaway. He's Lance Taylor. I'm Ryan Brown. We're the next round guys. Thank you for joining us as we take a look at week 3 of college football, week 2 of the NFL against the point spread. As always, presented by MyBookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on at MyBookie.ag. And they will give you that bet back bonus up to $500 covered. In your first bet, you lose up to $500. They put it right back into your account and you fire down again. MyBookie.ag, code next round to get that bet back bonus on your first bet when you sign up using code next round at MyBookie.ag. Maybe not the best overall national slate in week 3, but we got some gems out there. And then we got week 2 of the NFL to talk about. I want to start with a game in the ACC, Clemson and Georgia Tech. This is about as close to an away point spread-wise as we've seen these two in a very, very long time. Right now, Clemson a 3-point favorite on the road in Atlanta.
Yeah, and for this Clemson team, they're still looking for their offense to click. They've had some injuries at wide receiver, but this is a Cade Klubnik prove-it game. Dabo Swinney's called him out. He's challenged him to be better, to not to try to do too much. Clemson's walking into a hornet's nest. This game's been circled since the get-go by Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech knows their identity. They know who they are. They rested Haynes King last week. Fascinating game. I don't have a play on this one, but this one's it's a tough game for Clemson to walk in and just walk out with a W, let alone cover.
Now, hey, for the record, I did play 3 11 o'clocks last week, and I got away with a little 2-1.
Nice.
This is an 11 o'clock game. This number is dived down. It opened at Clemson 7.5 back in some offshores and some summer books, and it's all the way down to 3 now. They've won 9 consecutive games against Georgia Tech. Clemson has got to figure out a way to extend drives and convert third downs. 31% conversion rate right now. And if you're Georgia Tech, right, I believe the combination of Jamal Haynes, a healthy Haynes King who was in concussion protocol last week, and Malachi Hosley running the football, keeping Clemson off the field is going to be a key here. I lean Clemson, but I don't feel good about it.
Cade Klubnik's been bad. I mean, it's not just that he's not playing his normal level. He's not, but he's actually been bad. I mean, I don't know the last time I can remember Georgia Tech and Clemson playing where I said, boy, you trade quarterbacks right now in a heartbeat. I think Clemson fans take Haynes King the way he's played over the way Cade Klubnik
right
has
now.
played.
Right now. I mean, ultimately, the better quarterback in this game could be Haynes King. We'll see. Again, Clemson's got to get this offense right.
Yeah, I don't know how they do that. Again, Dabo challenges quarterback. It didn't work. Clemson, a 3-point favorite, total of 52.5. 11 o'clock kick Central Time on ABC 12 Eastern. On ESPN 12 Eastern. On ABC at the same time is Alabama playing host to Wisconsin. Alabama's a 3-touchdown favorite in this game. Off to the 1-1 start. Wisconsin 2-0, a total of 46. But Whiskey's starting a backup quarterback in this one.
And I don't really think it matters. I just feel like, and I know I said this before with Florida State, ended up staying away from Florida State, Alabama. Just get the feeling with this number stretching out to 21 that Alabama's going to have their way with Wisconsin. Not a good Badger team. I know they're 2-0. Their defense has played pretty well. They're 2-6 against the spread their last 8 games out as dogs. Alabama, 83 straight home wins against unranked opponents. Boy, if they were to lose this game, I can't even imagine what people would be saying. But I like Alabama laying the 21, and I think they win going away.
It would take a tremendous meltdown by the defense for Alabama to lose this game. Now, we've seen it happen before, but that's what it would take for them to lose this game. Billy Edwards is making the trip for Wisconsin with some Wisconsin fans to Tuscaloosa. The thing I'm watching for Alabama in this game is Ty Simpson's confidence.
Mm-hmm.
When do we see Mac in this game? Is it with the ones predetermined in the first half, or is it when it's mop-up time?
Yeah, that would surprise me if it is predetermined.
But Kalen DeBoer is saying practice during the week is going to dictate when quarterbacks and which quarterbacks play. And then I'm watching the right tackle battle for Alabama because I don't think Formby is locked in over there. Michael Campbell is a name that's being thrown around. They're still trying to fix that right side of the offensive line, which they've got to get fixed quickly. And against Wisconsin, this may be a good chance maybe to try a new face out there. So those are the couple of things I'm watching for Alabama. I'm going to play Alabama in this game, probably in our pick 3.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and look, another thing to watch for, Kane Womack in this defense. 1 quarterback sack, only 9 pressures through 2 games. Got to get more pressure on the quarterback.
Jim referencing to getting it right now because Alabama next has a bye week, and then it's off to Georgia, and that's where you got to be ready to go. So Alabama, a 21-point favorite, total of 46. You can play that right there at mybookie.ag. Use code NEXTROUND to get that bet back bonus. This game will be ugly to watch, the Fox Big Noon Kick, but I want to ask you guys what you think Dan Lanning's mindset is here. Oregon's a big favorite, 27.5, total of 49, but they've got a legitimate Heisman candidate at quarterback. You know Dan Lanning does not mind scoring points. I mean, at some point when you're playing an overmatched opponent like Northwestern, do you stat pad in a game like this?
Well, and you're still trying to figure out who your weapons are. Noah Whittington's been really good running the football, and speaking of running the football, this is a Northwestern team that gave up 269 rushing yards week 1 to Tulane. So you would think, and speaking of Tulane, Mekhi Hughes, who really hasn't done anything for this offense, I still think they're trying to identify the playmakers. You know, Gary Bryant Jr. at receiver, Malik Benson, who had a touchdown last week against Oklahoma State. I do agree, Dante Moore, they'll let him to continue to put up numbers. I think Dan Lanning would love to have a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. But I'm just really interested to see how much they run the football against a really, really porous Northwestern rush defense.
Body clock game, 9 a.m. kick.
I was going to ask you this next. So
Yeah.
it's a 9 a.m. Pacific time kick for them, a noon Eastern, 11 Central kick.
And one thing Oregon has struggled with Dan Lanning, at times they play down to competition, especially when they get bored with their competition.
Yeah.
And this is one of those opportunities. They just took it to Oklahoma State, which is, believe it or not, a better helmet game, a better reputation in football, Oklahoma State. But on the road in a makeshift stadium by the lake with construction going on in the background, Northwestern, maybe an overnight stay in Chicago. How big's the number again?
27.5.
That's
It's
not
plenty
that big. That's not that big, though.
Well, it's about what it was last week against Oklahoma State, and that
Yeah.
game was being played in Eugene. So that would tell you Oklahoma State's slightly better in the eyes of Vegas.
I
than
love
Northwestern.
having one of these games where you can just sit back, basically switch it off, not even pay attention to it, and you've already got it in. That's what you had last week with Oregon dominating Oklahoma State. You basically knew that game you were going to get to cover at half. I just don't know how I feel about this. Like Oregon, if they want to win by 40+, I think they can. You know, all the money's going to be on Oregon here. It seems like an easy winner. Northwestern is not good.
It's a lay it or don't play it for me.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with you on that. Also in the early window, it's an 11:45 Central, 12:45 Eastern kick for South Alabama at Auburn. It is homecoming for Auburn. They're going to be wearing the white uniforms. They call them their Stormtrooper uniforms at home there. The Tigers done away in their last tune-up before they have this tough stretch of games coming up. It starts with 2 road games at Oklahoma and at Texas A&M. Auburn's a 24.5-point favorite, total of 55. Whatever Auburn may not feel confident about, this is the last chance to get it fixed.
Yeah, better competition than Ball State is, both offensively and defensively. And if I'm still looking on something I want from Jackson Arnold, it's that take the top off the defense pass downfield. I still want to see Arnold air 1 or 2 out, maybe connector 1 or 2 deep throws, 30-plus yard throws, and put something on tape that Brent Venables and company got to worry about in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, keep building confidence with the Auburn offense. And how about this? This is the first time Auburn has been ranked under Hugh Freeze. Act like you belong. Win this game like you're supposed to. I mean, they haven't been ranked since November of 2021 under Brian Harsin. Now that you're ranked, build on this momentum, go out, crush South Alabama like you're supposed to. As you say, play it or lay it or don't play it. I'd probably completely stay away from this game. Auburn is definitely 24.5 points better than South Alabama, and South Alabama played above their grade last week against Tulane.
Yep.
But this is one of those games I laid it with Auburn last week, got burned with the 42.5. I just don't think I would play this game.
Is 11:45 still in the 11 o'clock window for you?
No,
consider that?
no,
Oh, no.
no.
No, okay.
Yeah, I would tell you 34-10, you're still a loser, and that's a comfortable
win.
Auburn win. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the 2:30 Central, 3:30 Eastern window. It is the MyBookie Football Pick Show. Reminder, when you sign up at mybookie.ag, you use code NEXTROUND, and you get that $500 bet back bonus. Mybookie.ag, code NEXTROUND. You make your first bet up to $500. You lose, and they will put it right back into your account, and you can play with it right away. MyBookie.ag, code NEXTROUND to get that bet back bonus up to $500. MyBookie.ag, bet anything, anytime, anywhere. Code NEXTROUND at MyBookie.ag. We mentioned when we started the show, this is as close as point spread wise we've seen Clemson and Georgia Tech in a while. I could say the same of Georgia and Tennessee. The 2:30 game on ABC in Knoxville, where Georgia is a 3.5-point favorite, a total of 49.5. This has been blowout city for 8 straight Georgia wins, and all of a sudden, here they are right about a field goal favorite in this game.
Last time Tennessee won this game, 2016 in Athens, year one for Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart has dominated against Josh Heupel. And Kirby Smart, 28-8 in ranked matchups since 2019. That is the second best win percentage in the FBS. Who do you think's got the best win percentage in ranked versus ranked since 2019?
Still active coaches?
Yeah, we don't count Nick Saban, right?
Yeah, still active coach. Kirby, 28-8 since 2019. The second best percentage. Who has the best winning percentage against ranked versus ranked?
I'm going to say it's Kalen DeBoer.
I would agree.
Kalen DeBoer, 11-2.
Yeah,
it is Kalen DeBoer.
I mean, he loses to unranked teams. He doesn't lose to ranked teams.
Doesn't this feel like one of those games? Tennessee might be better than they were last year. Aguilar might be an upgrade from Nico. But doesn't it seem one of those games where you poke the cage on Georgia and everybody's like, Tennessee's going to pull this upset off?
Well, I would tell you Tennessee's not 100% defensively. Both their starting corners out for this game. Colton Hood, the former Auburn star, will start at one corner. Freshman Ty Redmond will start at the other. They got a defensive tackle that's questionable, an offensive lineman starter that's a game-time decision on this one. Hadn't played in the first two games this year. So there are some concerns injury-wise for Tennessee. And then there's the fact that Georgia's they haven't had to flex anything yet. They haven't had to show anything with Gunnar Stockton. He's not throwing the ball downfield, but can he throw the ball downfield? We'll see in this game.
I'm sorry, Lance, but 1 of 5 passes 20 yards or more. To Dunaway's point of him not throwing the ball down the field.
5.3 yards per attempt. That is 130th. Do you guys know the last time Georgia lost a regular season game to a top 15 team in the SEC not named Alabama? And they played plenty of them.
This seems like forever ago. Was it Auburn in 2017?
No, it wasn't that far back.
Not that far back?
It was Florida in 2020.
2020 Florida. Oh, yeah, that's right. Florida went to the SEC championship.
Yeah, I mean, Kirby knows how to win these games. I'm going to lay this. I'm going to go on and tell you it's going to be on my card Saturday unless something crazy happens and we get an injury, suspension, something like that. I feel really good about Georgia minus 3.5.
Good news to you. I had just written Georgia down for my pick 3, and I've scribbled through it.
Oh, I see that, yeah.
So usually my gut instinct was to play Georgia. And usually I lose. But I've marked it through. So
more on that game
still
later.
Georgia.
More
okay.
on that game coming up.
All right.
USC is at Purdue. That is also in the 2:30 Central, 3:30 Eastern window. 20.5. Not really a body clock game, but you're having to come East Coast or West Coast, almost to East Coast. 20.5. USC's offense has been tremendous. Jade Maeva, statistically, maybe the best quarterback in the country right now. The scoring offense is the best scoring offense in the country, and Purdue is just playing terrible.
Yeah. I mean, they lead the nation in scoring offense, in total offense, in yards per play. They've got 7 rushing touchdowns, 9 passing touchdowns. They've spread it out, a bunch of different players. Maeva has been fantastic. And I think for D'Anton Lynn's defense in year 2, this can be a get-right game, too. Ryan Brown, the quarterback for Purdue, has been pretty good.
Great name.
They are sitting at 2-0 under first-year head coach Barry Odom. But I do like USC. I would lay the 20.5. And I've got a really good feeling they're going to be on my card Saturday.
How do you spell Odom?
Odom?
Yep.
O-D-O-M?
Change the M to an R. You get odor, and Barry Odom can stink a game up. He'll slow this thing down, try to muck it up there in West Lafayette. Give me Purdue inside the – is it 21 and a hook?
20.5.
20.5
20.5.
Yeah.
I like it when it's 21.5.
Okay, you're not going to go 20.5.
I'll still take it at 20.5.
Okay.
Purdue to yuck this thing up bad.
Yeah.
USC scores so quickly.
They do. Maeva has been tremendous, and we'll see if that road trip, if that could travel. You smell an odor.
Is that an odor?
Yeah. Hey, I'll
Yeah,
tell you
yuck
what.
this game up, Purdue.
Purdue's field always looks like they hadn't cut it in a week. I mean, if I'm Barry Odom, I told my grounds crew, do not put a blade on this field.
I think it's turf now. But
sheesh.
yeah. Is it? I don't know.
I don't know. I think it's actual real grass. We'll see when the game goes on.
It used to be.
Yeah, but I mean, I remember historically the old Bush Push game. That was one of the storylines.
Oh, yeah.
They were at Notre Dame, looked like they were playing in a wheat field.
U.S. Open rough.
Yeah, absolutely. Slow them down as best you can. Also in the midday window, it is a 4:30 Eastern, 3:30 Central kick on the CW.
Still real grass.
Still real grass? Oh, it'll be high,
Bermuda,
Jim.
in fact.
Ankle high.
Slick Bermuda.
Still the Bermuda growing season. This game is on the CW. If you're looking for it, might be tough to find. South Florida off to an amazing 2-0 start after destroying Boise State. Walk-off field goal against Florida. Miami is their next opponent. We've talked about it on our normal show in the next round. A chance to win 3 straight games against a ranked team to start the season does not happen very often, but they're still 17.5 point underdogs at Miami.
Miami's got a great offensive line, but South Florida's run defense so far against an experienced line in Boise State and an experienced line in Florida, they're only allowing 3.7 yards per carry. They're doing a great job in run defense. They'll have to put this all on Carson Beck's shoulder. USF, can they keep from running out of gas in this game? I think they have the Jimmies and Joes on their first 22 to play with Miami. Can they do it for 4 quarters after what they've been through already? I don't know if they can.
It would be the most amazing story in college football if the Bulls are able to start 3-0 because they're going to be propelled into the top 10 if they're able to do that. They're only 1-4 all-time against top fives. The one win came way back in that magical season in 2007 when they knocked off West Virginia, who at that time was number 5. I think Miami's defense has improved. I think Byron Brown is a difference maker at South Florida. I don't think it's going to be enough, though. I think Miami wins and probably covers. I said this on the next round. I would rather sit back on the couch, stay away from this game, and pull hard for South Florida. I just don't think they're going to be able to bottle that magic and go to 3-0.
Yeah, I could see it happening like this. They're so close to getting a 1 score late in this game to make it a 1 score game to put a little game pressure on Miami, but never can get over that hump, and then late Miami gets a touchdown to cover the game. I could see it happening.
Or Byron
like
Brown, they're down 13 and they're driving and they turn it over, and then Miami wins the game by 20, but never covered until the very end.
Closer than the score indicates what you guys are saying. All right, let's go to the primetime slate. MyBookie.ag brings you our football pick show, and you can log on right now at MyBookie.ag, set up your account, and use code NEXTROUND. When you set that account up with code NEXTROUND, you get that bet back bonus guarantee. You make your first bet, they cover it up to $500. You lose, right back into your account to play with it again. You can bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag. Code NEXTROUND for that bet back bonus of up to $500 when you go to MyBookie.ag. 2 teams that are 2-0. Arkansas, they haven't really played anybody. Alabama A&M and Arkansas State. Ole Miss had a road win against Kentucky last week after destroying Georgia State to start the year, and Ole Miss is a 7-point home favorite. Total of 61.5. Vegas expects some scoring in this game between the Rebels and the Razorbacks.
Well, going back last week, we had a pretty high-scoring game for Kentucky and Ole Miss. I think Taylor Green coming in 10th nationally in QBR right now. He's already got 10 touchdown passes, leading the nation. This will be by far the best quarterback that Ole Miss has seen. And is Taylor Green better than Austin Simmons? I think he is right now. Ole Miss running the football with Kewan Lacey, I think that's going to be more of your path to victory here. If I played this, I think I would lay it with Ole Miss minus the 7. I'm not sure how good Arkansas is. I think they're going to be improved with Taylor Green and Bobby Petrino meshing for back-to-back years. I don't like this spot for Arkansas.
I would tell you that Petrino recruited Taylor Green back in his Missouri State days.
Right.
He really wanted Taylor Green there, so they've got some familiarity. Yeah, second year with Bobby Petrino. You won't find a game with a better IQ of offense in the same stadium. Petrino on one sideline, Lane Kiffin, and Charlie Weiss on the other one. I like Arkansas inside the number here.
Yeah, it should be a very entertaining game if you like offense. They expect high scoring there. The entire world last week wanted to fire Billy Napier and gave up on the Florida Gators. Can he redeem himself? Saturday night in Tiger Stadium, 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern kick on ABC, the primetime ABC game, where LSU is a 7.5-point favorite. That's a little bit lower, Dunaway. This thing's been up around 9 at times. LSU a 7.5-point favorite. There are a lot of people starting to think maybe Florida can change the narrative just a little bit here in Baton Rouge.
A little bit of the same thing about Alabama and Florida State. It looks horrible until you ask yourself, hey, what if Florida State's really good?
Yeah.
This loss to South Florida looks bad till you say to yourself, hey, maybe South Florida is really that good. And then, okay, it's a close loss at home. Going on the road to the SEC, you don't have edge L.J. McCray. He's out with an injury. Brendan Bett, the spitter, is a guy that won't be there for the first half. But you are getting, for the first time this year, your all-star defensive lineman Caleb Banks playing for the first time this year. He's back. Meanwhile, LSU, tight end, injured, out, or questionable. And then your starting center, Braylon Moore, questionable for this game. That center is what is he? The quarterback of the offensive line. I can see why Florida is a popular play. I'm staying away from this one because LSU, without a healthy Braylon Moore, did nothing to impress me against La Tech offensively, and I don't know what Clemson is. I'm staying away from this.
For the
one.
record, I'm 2-0 on our upset alert.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to run it to 3-0 because I'm taking the Gators plus 7.5. I'm not going to be surprised if they pull off their first win at Tiger Stadium since 2016. DJ Lagway's got to be better. 73rd in quarterback rating right now. But on the other side, in this matchup last year, Florida wins the game because they hold LSU to under 3 yards per carry. I think it's about slowing down, containing Caden Durham, making Nussmeier make the big plays. I think Florida's defense wins this one for them.
At the same time, on NBC, you'll see Texas A&M, the Fighting Texas Aggies, heading to the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Texas A&M and Notre Dame played in College Station last year. Notre Dame got the win, propelling themselves into the college football playoff discussion and ultimately into the national championship game after they got in those playoffs. And they are a 6.5-point home favorite, total of 49.5 as Texas A&M comes calling. We've seen Notre Dame already lose a game at Miami. We've seen Texas A&M play two overmatched opponents. Feel like we maybe know a little bit more of what we got in Notre Dame than we know what we got in A&M.
Notre Dame coming off the bye week. C.J. Carr, I think, is going to be the real deal for Notre Dame, but they have zero room for error now. They lose another game. I think Notre Dame they're already behind the 8 ball. This is a game they won by 10 last year in College Station, but Marcel Reed didn't get the start. Marcel Reed trying to prove that he is not a one-dimensional quarterback. He has thrown for 3+ passing touchdowns in 3 consecutive games. I think Reed can have success against Notre Dame. I think this is going to be a fun game. I kind of lead A&M plus the points right now, but I'm not fully decided on a side yet.
I don't understand Notre Dame, who totally controls the making of their schedule as an independent, how you cannot have a get-right game in between Miami and Texas A&M. And the pressure's on the Irish to win this game, to stay in the playoff hunt, because they don't have that 13th data point to win an SEC or a Big Ten or an ACC championship at the end of the year. If they lose this game, that would be an 0-2 start. It would be a very, very, very tight needle to thread for them to make a playoff. A lot of pressure on them in this game. I'm going to ride with Notre Dame to win it, but it's going to be a tight, close game here. I'm going to go Irish and C.J. Carr.
Fun primetime slate right there. I think you have two good games in LSU, Florida. Florida at LSU and Texas A&M at Notre Dame.
And Arkansas and Ole Miss going on at the same time, and Vandy and South Carolina.
That's a good slate. Well, let's touch on that one real quick. Vandy, South Carolina, where Vandy is off to a 2-0 start, including they've got a common opponent. They went up and whipped Virginia Tech, a team South Carolina struggled to put away. South Carolina, a 4-point home favorite Saturday night in Columbia.
Vanderbilt believes. And you go back, week 1, South Carolina, the game you mentioned against Virginia Tech, it took big plays, 2 65-yard plus touchdowns in the fourth quarter to pull away from Virginia Tech. Vanderbilt goes up to Blacksburg and Lane Stadium and whips them. And I think Diego Pavia is playing with a lot of confidence right now. South Carolina's got to identify weapons. I think Nick Harbor can be one, but the offensive line has got to get better. They've already given up 6 sacks to Lenore Sellers. I kind of like Vanderbilt pulling out the upset here, which would be a bad loss for South Carolina.
Well, I'm about to go 0-3 in our picks here in just a second, or LT is going to have a bad one because I like South Carolina in this one. Too much talk about Diego, too much talk about Vanderbilt going in to wake up South Carolina.
I don't disagree, but it's like every time we say it, Vanderbilt just steps up and plays better. I mean, Clark Lee has got to start getting some recognition, right?
No, he does a great job of having his team prepared. But this, I mean, if Lenore Sellers is who we think he is, by the end of the game, we're going to be saying, Mama, there goes that man again.
There goes that man.
There goes Lenore Sellers again. I'm going to ride with Lenore Sellers in South Carolina in this one.
All right, let's flip to the NFL, all the Sunday and a couple Monday night games. We'll talk about as many of those as we can get to here. MyBookie.ag is where you can play all these games. And when you sign up at MyBookie.ag, make sure you use code NEXTROUND. That is going to get you that bet back bonus up to $500. You make your first bet, and they cover it up to $500. You lose right back into your account to play with again at mybookie.ag. Code next round. Mybookie.ag. Code next round. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with mybookie.ag. Code next round. Let's start in the early slate on Sunday. Maybe a surprise team from week 1 and how they played, or how well they played, and how big they won was Jacksonville. They were on the road at Cincinnati, who's historically of late not been good in week 1 and week 2, but they got a week 1 win by a single point at Cleveland. Now they're a 3.5-point favorite, home favorite to Jacksonville, total of 49. But the Jags were a little better in week 1 than I think people thought.
And you're going to get more and more Travis Hunter as we go on. They're talking about more defensive snaps for Hunter this week. I think Jacksonville with Liam Cohen, and I'm not a huge Cohen guy, but he does identify the right playmakers, gets them the ball. Brian Thomas is going to have another fantastic season. ETN was great in week 1. And Trevor Lawrence, big year for him. I still don't trust this Bengals defense. They only gave up 16 in the win over Cleveland. I like Jacksonville maybe as a live dog plus 3.5 on the road against Cincinnati.
Dan Orlovsky told you on our show that the Bengals were this close to scoring 2 more touchdowns in that game, by a toe here, an inch there.
Because I kind of looked at it the way you did. You set it up like, maybe I'm still a little bit worried. He took a different route.
Historically, they stink early.
Yep.
And get better late. This is still early in week 2, but I think because Jacksonville looks so good, it's the old everything sort of circles around to the middle in the NFL. I think the Bengals laying the points for me in this one.
Also in that window, Dunaway, the Giants are at the Cowboys. Both teams a week 1 loss. The Giants and the Cowboys are desperate for a win here. Cowboys a 5.5-point favorite, total of 44.5 there in Dallas. I think the most interesting thing is here, what does Brian Dable do at quarterback for the Giants?
Probably got to stick with Russell Wilson right now. To me, the matchup of this game is does the Giants have the new generation Micah Parsons on the other side, Abdul Carter, and what they've done defensively over there? They got some guys that can put some pressure on a Cowboy offense that I think struggles to run the football. They put so much pressure on Dak having to throw the ball. For some reason, I want to play the Giants here.
Yeah, I don't
know
know if Dallas is going to be able to run the football this year. I think Dak will be able to sling it all over the place. I think CD has a big game here. Had a couple of drops on that opening Thursday night against Philadelphia. I think he's got a great complement now, that number 2 guy with George Pickens. But I agree with you with New York, what you got with Thibodeau, Burns, now Abdul Carter. They can get after the quarterback, but they've got to figure something out offensively. Just because it's early in the season and it's in Dallas, I would play the Cowboys here, but I don't feel great about the 4.5. I could see this thing land 3-7. I'd probably stay away from this game, but I think the Cowboys win.
Your LA Rams are looking to extend their lead in the AFC South this weekend as they take on Tennessee and Nashville. The Rams beat the Texans last week. Tennessee had every chance to beat Denver. Denver was not good against Tennessee. Cam Ward making his first start on the road at Denver. Stat line doesn't tell you he was tremendous, but he was not the reason they lost the game.
Brian Callahan against Sean McVay. Matt
it's
Stafford
mismatch.
against Cam Ward.
It's a
but it
quarterback
is
mismatch.
the NFL, and you saw how well Tennessee's defense played, turning Bo Nix over 3 times in a 1-possession loss in Denver to a playoff team from last year. The Rams found a way to survive in SoFi against the Texans. I don't feel great going West Coast to East. I'm not playing this game. I sure as hell wouldn't play the Titans. This thing ticked up to 6 for a minute. It's back down to 5.5. I'm just praying the Rams find a way to win this game. I could see them win by 28. I could see the Titans pull off the upset. Don't like this game at all.
If you watch Tennessee and Denver, a lot of drop passes from the Tennessee Titans wide receivers. And the defense did a great job against Bo Nix and the Denver team. But Stafford looked young, like he found the fountain of youth. I initially wrote down Rams in a survivor pool. I'm going to shy away from that a little bit because I don't want to jinx LT's Rams. But this seems to me like one team's a playoff contender and one team's the Tennessee Titans. But we'll see how it plays out.
Bills at the Jets. The Jets lost in week 1. The Bills had a miracle win. Now they go on the road to New York. But even in a loss done away, the Jets, I thought they made a good representation of themselves. Now they're 6-point home dogs to the Bills. It's a little bit tougher than playing the Steelers, but Justin Fields played well. There was a lot to like about that Jets team, even in that loss.
Aaron Rodgers is 63 years old, and the Jets, and it was his first start for the Steelers.
Right.
And the Jets gave up all the points that they did. Can you imagine what Josh Allen
should be able to run
is
him out of the
going to do
stadium? Yes.
when the Ravens defense could not hold them under 40 points? This may be the highest scoring game in the NFL since Y.A. Tittle threw passes.
Total of 46.5 is the highest total on the Sunday board. I'll tell you that.
And
that tells me
Yeah.
40 of those will come from the Bills, and the biggest blowout on the board this weekend, Bills over Jets.
Jets couldn't stop Aaron Rodgers last week. They're sure as hell not going to stop Josh Allen. At the same time, I think the Jets can have success against this Bills defense, so I would take a look at this total. 16 games played last week. 12 went under the total in the NFL.
Right.
Only 4 went over. By the way, we played 2 totals at lanceslock.com. 2 overs, both went over.
Yeah.
I do lean this over here, and I probably would lean the Jets. I don't feel good about it, though.
We are on the opposite side of everything.
I noticed that.
That sets up for a good weekend for somebody.
Let me quickly correct myself. The biggest total on Sunday is the Chiefs playing host to the Eagles. 47 points is your total there. Now, last week when Baltimore was in Buffalo, they were a favorite. I was like, how are you favored in Buffalo? It is weird seeing a road team favorite in Kansas City, but that's where we find the Eagles a narrow 1-point favorite.
Well, I think a lot of people remember the last time we saw these teams play and what the Eagles were able to do to Kansas City. And Kansas City just on the perimeter, they look kind of lost Friday night in Brazil against the Chargers. I don't think Kansas City is going to be as good as they were. And I think the Eagles are going to be every bit as good as they were last year. I'm not saying they win the Super Bowl. I think the Eagles go into Arrowhead, and I think this is the big story coming out of week 2 in the NFL is the Chiefs are 0-2, and people are like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah. And then do they start looking to trade? Like, there's talks that Tyreek Hill may be out in Miami. Do they want to get him back in Kansas City? I mean, you do wonder how the Chiefs would react.
And I'm not saying KC doesn't miss. They're not missing the playoffs. I mean, KC was still is Kansas City. It's Pat Mahomes, but just a tough open to the season. Neutral site against Chargers, and now taking on the defending champion Eagles.
Lost in Brazil sounds like it'd be a great movie and/or digital DJ mix at some techno club in Vegas. Lost in Brazil. I don't know if there's jet lag or hangover coming back from Brazil. I sort of like the Chiefs in a get-right game here against the Eagles.
Sunday night, you were over in Atlanta to watch the Falcons against your Bucs last Sunday. They are on the road in Minnesota, the Falcons are, this Sunday. J.J. McCarthy brought Minnesota back from dead in the second half of last Monday night's game. Can he do it again? Back-to-back games. Vikings a 3.5-point favorite, total of 44.5.
If it was anybody else the Falcons were playing, I would take the other team. But I'm not sure J.J. McCarthy can back up what he did in the second half against Atlanta. They've got so many weapons. I just wonder about their offensive line giving Michael Penix time to get it to Bijan out of the backfield, to get it to London, who's banged up a little bit. And then Pitts is a guy that the Falcon fans are waiting to explode. Maybe a big game for him this week. I'm going to take the Falcons in a close one here against the Vikings.
Yeah, I think I'm going to play the Falcons plus the points, too. I just don't – as good as J.J. McCarthy was in that fourth quarter, Penix has got a little bit more experience starting the end of last season. And I do think the Falcons are improved, and I think the Vikings aren't as good as they were last year. I'll take the Falcons plus 3.5.
All right, 2 Monday night games. You can play those at MyBookie.ag. Code next round when you sign up at MyBookie.ag. The bet back bonus up to $500 back into your account. If you lose week 1, they put it right back into your account. MyBookie.ag. Code next round for that. Dunaway, your Buccaneers Monday night on the road in Houston. Lance just saw the Texans in L.A. there. Houston, a 2.5-point favorite. Total of 42.5 as your Bucs came from behind late on Baker Mayfield's arm to get that win.
Listen, I'm not worried about landmining the Buccaneers this year. I've already called them a dark horse for the Super Bowl. I think they at least make the NFC Championship game this year. I like them to win in Atlanta, so much so I went to the game and brought Forrester a flag because I stole his flag on his home field. I think the Buccaneers go on the road and as a favorite cover in this game because they will be able to blitz C.J. Stroud, sack C.J. Stroud, put him under duress, get turnovers. I like the Buccaneers easy cover over Houston.
Yeah, I just don't like this. The Texans' defense is legitimate. I just don't like their offense. Couldn't manufacture a touchdown last week in Los Angeles, and I think they're going to have problems outscoring Baker Mayfield in this Tampa Bay offense. I agree, and I think this is huge for Tampa to be able to open the season 2-0 with both road games.
Yeah.
But I like Tampa plus 2.5, probably live dog. If you wanted to play the money line, you can catch them at plus 115 right now.
How in the world did you have to open the season with 2 road games? NFL generally does not do that.
But think about where the Buccaneers could be to his point, because Carolina's got to go to Arizona.
Right.
Atlanta's got to win on the road at Minnesota. Forget the Saints. If Tampa Bay steals this win, there's a chance they're 2-0 and the rest of the division is 0-2.
And you haven't played a home game.
And we haven't played a home game yet.
You'd be in great
or
shape.
Or any
right
of
there.
the bad teams in the division.
That's right. You'd be in great shape there.
Yeah.
All right, the final Monday night game, Lance. Chargers at the Raiders. One of these two teams will come out 2-0 in the AFC West there. Chargers are a 3.5-point favorite on the road in Las Vegas.
I think both teams are improved. I had the Chargers in the AFC Championship game this year. I think they go on the road. They beat an improved Raiders team. I just don't think the Raiders' weapons are going to come together. Bowers was awesome last year. I think Genty's going to get better and better. You got a solid quarterback now with Geno Smith. But I just think the Chargers, Justin Herbert is really starting to make the game look easy. and their ability to run the football now with O'Mary and Hampton in that backfield. I like the Chargers here on the road as a short favorite.
I'm going to go culture, Pete Carroll over Jim Harbaugh. And I hate to say it.
Let's just say it.
Big game Brock Bowers.
Big game Brock?
Yeah.
The guy that was going to be a bust?
The guy that's going to be a bust.
Yeah, not anymore.
No sophomore slump for him. It's going to be his second game over 100 yards.
Yeah.
Brock Bowers, Geno Smith. Nobody can kill this guy. Nobody can get him out of the league. Geno Smith. Big game Raiders. I'll take the Raiders.
All right, it is time for our pick 3. I was 2-1 last week, Dunaway. I'm not sure how you did.
I lost that one for
you
sure.
Lost, you had the opposite side. You had Cincinnati. I had Cleveland.
I think I was 2-1.
So since I was 2-1 and you were 2-1, I've won the toss.
Does nobody keep it up with this?
I was hoping Dunaway did. That's why I said that.
I thought somebody was keeping up with it. I'll go back and watch the archives.
I'm very easy. I'm 3-3 on the season. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I think I'm 4-2.
Okay. So here we go. I like Clemson and Georgia, and here's why I'm going to pair these together. Clemson -3, Georgia -3.5. Everybody's talking about, look at Clemson. This is the best chance for somebody to upset them. They're not playing well. They're dead. Look at Georgia. Tennessee's within 3.5. This will be the best game Clemson and Georgia have played this year. They're both going to win, of course, and they're both going to cover the point spread. Clemson -3, Georgia -3.5. And then give me the USC Trojans playing a terrible Purdue team. This offense has been terrific. Lincoln Riley going on the road -20.5. So I like Clemson -3, Georgia -3.5, and the USC Trojans -20.5.
Okay, give me the point spreads because I'm going to go NFL. I'm going to take the Bills and give all the points. I don't
6.5.
I don't think they'll slow it down. So 6.5.
That's right.
And then in the SEC, somewhere in week 1, Pete Golding walked outside. He was like, is somebody saying my name? Am I hearing things from Tuscaloosa? People are saying nice things about me in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
I think he has a bad game. Arkansas steals one in Oxford.
What a setup. You had me going the other way.
And then South Carolina, it's Vandy. South Carolina gets Vandy. So give me the Bills, Arkansas, and the Gamecocks.
Ole Miss favored 7, so you've got Arkansas plus the 7. And then South Carolina is -4.
Yeah, so -4.5 and plus 7.5.
There you
and
go.
Big C, big O, big C, big K, big S.
Okay, I see what you did there. It's the opposite of the Jack State chair. All right, now you can play all those games at MyBookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on at MyBookie.ag. You sign up, use code next round. They give you that bet back bonus up to $500. You make your first bet, you lose up to $500. They put it right back into your account at MyBookie.ag. When you use code next round, bet anything, anytime, anywhere at MyBookie.ag. Code next round. All right, thank you for watching the show. We ask you to do a couple things. Give us a thumbs up. On YouTube, make sure you have set your alerts and you subscribe to the Next Round YouTube channel. If you're new to us, we're live every single weekday, 9 to 12 Central. If you set your alerts, you get an alert when we go live. And you can follow us on all social media at Next Round Live, at Next Round Live. And all our stuff is available on podcast as well, wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you set your automatic downloads so you get us every single day, and subscribe at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all your major podcast platforms. And always visit MyBookie.ag, code next round. Enjoy the games, week 3 of college football, week 2 of the NFL. We'll see you next week on the MyBookie Football Picks.